Okay. Testing. Testing. Go again. Testing. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am Fiona Hutchinson, Senior Librarian of the Jamaica Library Service. Today, I will be your moderator for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I invite you to stand for the playing of the national anthem, followed by Ms. Carol Plummer, Regional Director, Region 6, who will start with the opening prayer.
The national anthem represents the beauty, pride, strength, and resilience of Jamaica and our people. My name is Usain Bolt. Please stand as we pay honor to Jamaica, our culture, and our history.
Ms. Carol Plummer with the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Most righteous and heavenly Father, we praise you, we bless your name. Father God, we thank you for life. We thank you for this morning, and we thank you for journeying mercy. We thank you for this gathering, for Career Forum. We ask your blessings on the presenters, and we pray that their presentation will guide and empower our students in making the right decision in choosing their careers. Bless this function, and may everything that is done glorify your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
On behalf of the Jamaica Library Service, I would like to express welcome to the following individuals. Ms. Maureen Thompson, Director General of the Jamaica Library Service. Ms. Kishma Simpson, Senior Director of the Jamaica Library Service. Dr. Marcia Rowe Amonde, Senior Director, Heart Trust, NSTA. Mrs. Kalia Smith, Vice President, Programs and Achievements, Junior Achievement Jamaica. Ms. Simone Parkin Smith, Senior Education Officer, Guidance and Counseling Unit. Ms. Erica Williams, Manager, Career Development Services with Heart Trust NTA. Ms. Carol Plummer, Regional Director, Region 6, Jamaica Library Service. Mr. Sean Thomas, Librarian, Jamaica Library Service. Mr. Markland Hunter, Research Assistant, Jamaica Library Service. Our guest speaker, Dr. Anne-Marie Williams, Mrs. Angela De Freitas, and Mr. Siobhan Hutchinson. Our directors, regional directors, senior librarians, and members of staff of the Jamaica Library Service. Teachers and students of the Wolmer's Boys School, Clancarthy High School, Kingston High School, and St. Hugh's. Our online viewers and other specially invited guests, welcome. Firstly, let me express my gratitude to each person who has joined us today. I take great pleasure in welcoming you to the Jamaica Library Service Career Forum. As a part of the observance of National Career Week 2022, which is held under the theme, Career Success, Building Critical Skills to Navigate the Future. A week of activities commenced yesterday with the National Church Service. In addition to our Career Forum today, the Heart Trust NTA, the Ministry of Education, Junior Achievement Jamaica, and other affiliates promise an exciting week filled with information to guide you along your career path. Today's Career Forum, however, seeks to guide students approaching the end of high school to identify key factors relating to achieving their career success, understanding the different career path options after graduation, recognizing the importance of critical skill and training to aid readiness for the future, and getting insight on the importance of planning ahead and long-term goals. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to be engaged and informed in this educational and informative session. Before heading into this session, assist me in welcoming Ms. Maureen Thompson, Director General of the Jamaica Library Service. Let's welcome her to the stage to bring opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. That didn't sound like it's a good morning so far, and I'm sure we're very much happy to be here this morning and alive and well. So let me do it again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Great, thank you so much. That sounds much better. Permit me to acknowledge our moderator and also welcome her as she extended a very warm welcome to all. Ms. Fiona Hutchinson, Senior Librarian and our moderator for this very important event. I'm very pleased this morning to be a part of this engagement and to bring remarks. I would want to acknowledge in a very special way the students who are here. It's very important that we acknowledge the effort they have made to join us this Monday morning. Mondays can be very tough mornings. And so I invite the adults to give them a round of applause. Thank you. They look so smartly dressed and attired, and of course, the moderator would have identified these 3 schools that have joined us this morning. I also want to acknowledge members of the media who have joined us to ensure that this event gets public attention. So we thank them from the various media houses that are here. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Library and to the Jamaica Library Service Career Day Forum. The Ministry of Education and Youth, in collaboration with the HEART National Service Training Agency, Junior Achievement, and the Jamaica Library Service, we have all joined in celebrating this very important week titled National Career Week from February 6 to 11 this month. We are doing so under the theme, Career Success, Building Critical Skills to Navigate the Future. Activities for National Careers Week have been planned to promote career development awareness nationally for all ages and stages of life, to highlight new and emerging skills for the future workplace, to promote awareness of financial opportunities for higher education, and to unearth students' creativity in fostering career awareness. The Jamaica Library Service, as an agency of the Ministry of Education and Youth, delivers island-wide through a network of 111 libraries, a menu of programs to provide support to the priority areas of the ministry. The focus for the celebration of National Careers Week, therefore, is on one of the areas of strategic priority, that of youth development and career advancement. A major feature of the week-long observance is a mounting of displays by the Jamaica Library Service in all parish libraries and select branch libraries to provide a wealth of information to assist our students to make informed decisions. We encourage our students and, of course, our parents and adults to visit the nearest parish library throughout the week to view these displays. Today's event, titled Career Day Forum, promises to be very exciting and will focus on activities to promote career development awareness nationally. This is aimed to foster youth development and empowerment to support our students to achieve their full potential in an ever-changing global environment. A virtual display presentation will be showcased using media, images, and graphics to provide our students with a practical guide through the journey of choosing a career path. This will be followed by a question and answer segment moderated by our 2 eminent librarians, Mr. Sean Thomas and Mr. Markland Hunter. Later in the program, we will have 3 exciting presentations. The first will be by Dr. Anne-Marie Williams, Manager, Placement and Career Services at the University of the West Indies, who will be presenting on the topic, Self-Exploration and Self-Assessment for Career Choices. Following this presentation, Mr. Siobhan Hutchinson, Administrator, Faculty of Engineering, University of the West Indies, will make his presentation on the topic, resume writing, and we know how very important this is to ace that job that we would want. And the final presentation will be preparing for an interview by Mrs. Angela De Freitas, General Manager, Career Choices and Education Advice. We thank our presenters for making themselves available to ensure that this forum is rich and fulfill the needs of our students. We anticipate a very engaging and successful session with active participation, and we invite our students to ask the questions to get all the answers that they will need at this time. We do hope that you will gain new knowledge that will empower you to make good choices towards your career goals as you pursue your dreams and aspirations. Thank you for joining us for the observation of National Careers Week as we support you to build the critical skills to navigate the future. The future is now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Maureen Thompson, I thank you for those informative and encouraging words. Moving on into the program, I would like to now welcome Dr. Marcia Rowe Amundi, Senior Director at the Human Employment and Resource Training, Heart Agency, Jamaica, who will join us to bring greetings.
Thank you, Fiona. Madam Chair, Ms. Fiona Hutchinson, to Ms. Maureen Thompson, our Director General of the Jamaica Library Service, Ms. Carol Plummer, Regional Director for Region 6, Ms. Erica Williams, Chair of the National Career Planning Committee, our students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen out there in the online space, our teachers, good morning to you. As was said, we are celebrating National Career Awareness Week, and it's under the theme, Building Critical Skills to Navigate the Future. Let us not forget the many forces at the global and the national level that's forcing us to rethink careers and to equip our young people and adults for an uncertain future. The pandemic has caused a number of persons to lose their jobs. In Jamaica, careers were impacted by decreased hours, temporary layoffs, permanent employment terminations. Some employees were allowed to work from home. We have seen the tremendous impact on tourism, or entertainment sector, and even the air travel industry, especially in the early days of the pandemic. There's an increased trend in remote work, in e-commerce, in automation. Virtual meetings and remote work are here to stay. There's a need for us as young people, as professionals, as those who are retiring, to be engaged in upskilling and upgrading in response to the evolving nature, the changing nature of the jobs. We hear about the Great Resignation, where many persons are leaving jobs and going to other areas where they can find fulfillment and have improved well-being. So it's important that at this time, we stop to talk about careers. It's an annual event, normally held in around this time in February, and it's to help individuals to develop the skills to manage their careers. It's held in collaboration with key partners. We have the Ministry of Education, the Junior Achievement Jamaica, yesterday, and the Jamaica Library Service. Yesterday, we kicked off with a church service in Morant Bay, and it was chaired by the Reverend Patricia Salmon. She's the host pastor, and she's also a senior education officer with responsibility for career guidance. It was very fitting that we had it in Morant Bay, because that's where we had Paul Bogle and the Morant Bay Rebellion, and where freedom began. It's what we're trying to do now, children. We're trying to open education opportunities for you so that you can be free to choose. You can be free to dream and to follow your own path. Some key activities, as was said by Ms. Thompson, for the week will include panel discussions, social media interaction. We will have a career conference. We'll have roundtable discussions on entrepreneurship. We have a panel discussion on Friday where we'll be looking at careers in the global services sector, in ICT, and in healthcare. The focus will be on empowering young people and adults with information so that they can make wise career choices, including those who have also retired. We'll also be focusing on entrepreneurship, because many of you may choose to go and have careers to become entrepreneurs. At heart, we are really focused on careers, equipping young people in different areas with careers in what we refer to as our Vision 2030 areas, in construction, agriculture, ICT, mining, the creative industries. We want to have an enrollment of 119,000 this year, and we want to ensure that we have certification exceeding 56,000. It's our way of equipping young people and adults so that they can take on the various careers out there in the world of work. I would like to applaud and thank the Jamaica Library Service for sharing the vision, for providing information, safe places, safe spaces where our young people can come to get information that will help to empower them. You continue to be relevant in the information age. You support lifelong learning, and this is key to career awareness and development. We're happy that you're opening the doors and having these rich displays throughout the parishes, even in the rural areas, which is very important because we need to reach our children. We need to reach our adults wherever they are. We are giving them information. I remember recently reading a story about a young girl from Africa, and she went to France. Somehow she got an opportunity to go to France. She came from a very poor village. And one day she was walking and she saw a sheet out of a magazine, a page from out of a magazine. And a ballet dancer was on that page. And she was able to take it and read, and she read that story. And she later became one of the greatest ballet dancers in France. So we really need to give you information to empower you to become whatever you want to be. I think of my own journey. I've not always been wearing suits and heels and dressing up and sitting in office. I come from a little rural district in St. James called Mount Horeb. And one of the greatest forces in my life was the library. I remember going to the library with our librarian, Miss Roslyn. She's still alive in her 90s. And she played a key role in opening the doors of the library and giving us children in the rural areas and opening to the rest of the world through those books and some exciting opportunities that she was able to organize. We also had interest in art and craft activities. So I think the libraries are very relevant. We need to embrace ICT. and continue to strengthen them and be a force in the lives of our children, no matter where they are. We also seek to integrate career awareness in our programs at heart. So all our teachers or instructors are required to align career development to how they teach, to the content. So you are doing health and safety. What will you become? You're doing careers in auto mechanics, careers in agriculture, in ICT. We are required to tell them about new and emerging careers. Some of you said this morning you want to go in the STEM careers, the science, the technology, the engineering, and the mathematics. And I will drop the A in that, also the arts. So I would say the STEAM careers. And the world is out there for you to realize your potential. So we embrace career management and development, and we see it as a lifelong activity. Children, I'm very happy to see you here today. As I said, a special shout out to you. Dream big, go for your goals. I know a lot of you are spending a lot of time on your phones and your computers, and many times it is not productive time. So you tap, and you swipe, and you play games. Remember those persons who created the games, they are rich, they have reached where they are. You now need to reach and make something of your lives. Do not waste all your time on the phone and on the computers playing games. Set your goals. I've heard from you your goals. Chefs, soldiers, forensic scientists. As I said, the STEAM careers, you have some exciting careers that you want to pursue. Do not listen to anyone. You can become anything you want to be. Ensure that you have strong self-esteem, feel good about yourselves. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your parents do. Don't let that dictate who you are. Many of them are trying very hard, working hard so you can make something of your lives. My father is a farmer, and he tried very hard to ensure that we got a good education. So your parents are rooting for you, your teachers are rooting, this country, the education system. Notice how hard the Ministry of Education is trying to open the doors of school and to get you back in schools. But you have an important part to play. So study, use your time wisely, go for your dream. The world is your oyster. The world has become smaller now. It's not like when I was growing up. And there are so many opportunities out there for you. But you will have to work hard, use your time wisely, and commit yourselves to pursuing that dream. So again, thank you all. Thank you to the Jamaica Library Service. Take some time to engage with the display. Your career is also about information and going out to get information. Take the information, see what is out there, and then put your goals together and pursue it. May God bless you, and I look forward to an engaging and inspiring week with our various partners and stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amundi, for sharing a motivational talk. We appreciate your words as we keep moving forward to assist our youth in finding their career path and making them aware of the choices that exist. Moving on in our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, next we do have a presentation by the Jamaica Library Service, which will be facilitated by Mr. Sean Thomas and Mr. Markland Hunter. Following the presentation is a question and answer segment, so we do encourage that you listen, jot any questions that you have down, and your questions will be facilitated by Mr. Hunter and Mr. Thomas. So Mr. Hunter and Mr. Thomas, I welcome you to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. All protocols observed. I am Sean Thomas.
And I'm Mr. Markland Hunter.
All right, and we're here to field the questions after the presentation. So the format of this presentation will be shown on screen. So we invite you to follow on the screen as we go through the presentation, and after it has ended, then we will ask a few questions. So kindly turn your attention to the screen.
National Career Week 2022. Theme: Career Success, building critical skills to navigate the future. Career success is a combination of achieving a reasonable level of financial stability while doing work you enjoy. You may not be successful in your profession if 1. You enjoy your job, but it does not lead to financial independence, or 2. If you are highly compensated but lack passion or enthusiasm in your chosen field. As a result, your success can be negatively affected if both are not mutually supported. True professional success needs a symbiotic relationship between both financial security and passion for what you do. So, it is the end of high school, and you are wondering what is next for you and how you will get through the next critical stages of your life. Here are some important pointers that you will need to achieve your career success. Let us examine the 3 phases. Phase 1. There are some requirements that must be met before graduating from high school. 1. Learn about your interest by analyzing the subjects you have studied and the activities you have participated in, such as the clubs, societies, and any other extracurricular activities you are involved in. 2. Determine what your unique abilities are. 3. Select and ensure that you pass the CSEC subjects that are appropriate for you. And 4. Complete a career key test that will help you to identify the most suitable career path for you. There are several ways of doing the career key test. 1. Electronically, and 2. Hard copy, that is a written test. Phase 2. By the time you graduate, you will have to make some critical decisions and take some critical actions. These actions will assist you in preparing for the next steps necessary to be successful in your career. Prepare all your official documents, These include your tax registration number or TRN, your national insurance scheme card or NIS card, your national ID or voter's registration card, your passport, and if possible, a learner's license. If you do not have any of these in your possession, ask your parent or guardian to facilitate the process of acquiring them. In addition to getting your official documents, the following advice is of equal importance. 1. Make a sound financial plan and stick to it. This could include opening a savings account, investment account, credit union account, obtaining a student loan, and researching scholarships. 2. Find a mentor. Determine what path you want to take after graduating from high school, whether it be 1. Enrolling in a post-secondary educational institution, which may include an overseas college or university or HART. 2. Getting a job. 3. Starting a business or enterprise. Depending on your decision, you should then identify the entry-level requirements that you will need to apply for a job or start a community college or university locally or internationally, or starting your business or enterprise. Some local jobs and university require at least 5 to 6 CSEC subjects at the general proficiency grades 1 to 3, which includes English language, mathematics, a science subject, and 2 to 3 W-unit CAPE subjects if needed. International universities require different entry requirements. For example, universities in the USA require passes in the SAT. If you finish high school and do not have all the requirements to further your studies, there are alternatives, such as the pre-university programs across Jamaica. These programs require entry-level passes ranging from 1 to 5 CSEC subjects. A list of pre-university institutions that you could consider are being displayed on the screen. The MICA Pre-University Men's Program, or PUMP, is one such. The Pre-UE, offered by several institutions affiliated with the University of the West Indies. The Pre-University, offered by several community colleges. Skills training and remedial learning, offered by government-run institutions, are also viable alternatives. They include the Hard Trust NTA Skills Training. If you decide to start your own business, you should have a business plan, which determines your startup strategy and should also include financing, material acquisition, partnerships, and so on. Phase 3.
Career portfolio. Creating a career portfolio is the best way to keep track of your achievements. It will provide you with proof to a potential employer. It also helps to plan, to appraise, and keep track of your learning experiences all at the same time. This would also help you to analyze and plan the best path forward. Identify your own personal, career, educational, and life goals. In case you're wondering what a career portfolio should look like, your portfolio could be a folder containing the results of the career key test, a resume that is updated on a regular basis, a cover letter that is tailored to each job application, and any other important documents that you may have. Did you know that outside of school, there is a world of opportunities for pursuing career goals through academic, professional, or skills training and work experience? It is critical to develop key attitudes to maintain excellence and a positive reputation which will sustain your success indefinitely. Set specific goals for where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Build strong relationships with key people in your life through networking. Recognize the value of lifelong learning. Building critical skills to navigate the future. Lifelong learning is critical for a successful career and for staying competitive in an ever-changing world. Also, you need to look much more closely at your personal characteristics. Set strong foundations and seek out skills that can be applied in a variety of situations. One such example is that of ICT skills. Foundational skills, these are the skills that you will need as you go forward. Skill number 1, digital literacy and ICT. Understanding how apps, websites, communication networks, and other similar technologies work may be useful in predicting future challenges. It is advantageous to have a basic understanding of how the digital world works. Skill number 2, literacy. In this time and age, we consume more information than ever before, and in order to broaden our horizons, we must be able to read and to write. It is essential not only to learn new things, but also to share what you have learned. In other words, don't keep it to yourself. Skill number 3, numeracy. In today's world, data and analytics are king, and I know this is nothing new to you. It is essential to have a strong understanding of numbers and statistics, as well as the ability to perform basic calculations. Skill number 4, literacy education. Knowing how to learn may prove very useful in the future. It may be advantageous to educate yourself on learning new strategies and to identify the best working methods that will help you to adapt to these changing environments. Personal skills and competencies of the future. Number 1, curiosity, active learning, growth mindset. One of the most important skills is the constant growth mindset. To adapt quickly to the ever-changing business and technological world, it is necessary to have a desire to learn new things as well as an active learning style. Number 2, creativity, ideation, and innovation. This is a necessary skill for developing future solutions, processes, and products. This is also a skill that machines cannot currently compete with, making it a very future-proof skill to develop. It also includes techniques for producing new ideas, such as brainstorming. Another skill that can be added is originality, which involves the aspect of developing novel ideas and concepts without being constrained by existing solutions. Skill number 3, critical thinking, reasoning. Critical thinking is a skill that is required to solve complex problems. Many businesses and teams rely on this skill to evolve and develop new solutions in the most efficient manner possible. Observations, various data sources, and logical argument structures must be used to support the reasoning. Finally, adaptability. In addition to learning new things, we must be adaptable, as was previously stated. Roles, colleagues, disruptive business models, and a plethora of new channels are all changing. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and being able to adapt to new situations and cope with new challenges is an important skill to have. In conclusion, career success is a combination of financial stability and enjoying the work you do. In order to achieve career success, you will need to make some critical decisions that will lead you in the right direction.
Okay, students, did you enjoy that? Okay, I trust that you did. So, welcome to the very exciting section where we ask a few questions based on the presentation on career success that just ended. So, for all those who have joined us online, feel free to answer the questions asked. We might not be able to hear you just now, but we thank you for your interest and we trust that you have learned from the presentation. Now, to the students who are here, career success is a very comprehensive topic, and we could ask 100 questions, but in this moment, we will ask just enough questions to allow maybe a representative from each school represented here to answer a question or maybe two. All right, so Mr. Hunter and myself, we want to thank the team of information professionals in the Jamaica Library Service who put that presentation together. So students, you can have a look for yourselves. We're in the field of information professionalism, and those are the types of things that we do. All right, so students, pay attention. Girls, Mr. Hunter and myself, we are representing the professionals in the Jamaica Library Service, but keep calm. It's not only males who are librarians. There are also females. In fact, librarians these days are primarily females. So think about it. All right, Mr. Hunter, we'll start you off with the first question as soon as he's ready. But in the meantime, I want to encourage you all students to, and those online as well, to check out the Jamaica Library Service website. There is a wealth of e-resources on the site to include our online catalog, that's the JLS catalog, and students, I can tell you, I went on there myself and I did a search just on career. I just typed career in the search bar and I got over 450 results. And those are titles that are available in the Jamaica Library Service collection, and those are all accessible to you. All right, so we encourage you to check that out.
There will be a presentation right now to listen.
Right. I am being informed that there will be a little presentation, well, a big presentation before we proceed. So we will have that presentation and then we continue.
Dr. Ro Amonde. On behalf of the Jamaica Library Service, this is a token of our appreciation for you coming to share in our forum today. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. It has really been a pleasure. And thanks again to the Jamaica Library Service for working with us in advancing the mandate for our young people and our adults in this country. Thank you.
Thanks again, Mrs. Amonde. So now we will continue, and Mr. Markland Hunter will ask the first question, and we invite students just to raise your hand, and then I think we will allow the students to step up to answer, right? That is if you are ready at the time that the question is asked, so that your voice may be projected for others to hear your answer to the question.
Hello again, everyone. So to start off this answering and question section, the first question will be, what is career success? So the first person to just jump up and answer. So repeat the question. Okay. So St. Hughes, can come forward, please. So give her a round of applause. That was awesome. Okay, the next question is, identify 2 pathways after leaving high school that students can take to achieve their career success. Any takers? So identify 2 pathways after leaving high school that students can take to achieve career success. Hold on.
Okay, if I'm remembering correctly, so the pathways they can take is they could go to university or they could go to community college.
Very good, very good. Your turn. All right. Okay, the third question will be, identify 2 critical skills that students will be able to use to navigate the future. Going once, going twice.
We can remind them of the skills and continue.
Repeat. Come on, going once, going twice. Takers, anyone? Okay, those critical skills is literacy and numeracy, right? Those would be the foundational skills, and personal skills would also be like critical creativity skills, ITC, flexibility and adaptability. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunter. All right, so students, we thank you for your participation, and those online, we hope that you were able to answer those very easy questions. So we will take our exit, and we invite you to join us on YouTube and watch this presentation again in future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunter, and thank you, Mr. Thomas. That was an informative video. I don't know if anyone else in the audience agrees with me. Yes? Okay. Okay, so if you need more clarification or more information on any of the items that you saw in the video, feel free to contact us. You can visit our website as Mr. Thomas had expressed, and you can also contact us via our Ask a Librarian, which is on our website. We also have our WhatsApp services. You can find our number also listed on our website. So feel free to reach out. Any questions, you can send them in and we will respond. Now we'll actually be taking a break. As you notice, within this space, we have a few booths. We are giving you a chance to just take a look around, browse, get some information, ask questions on anything that you may need to know. And also to inform you and our viewers on YouTube and Facebook as well, we are about to take a virtual tour of 2 of our library spaces. As we had said, this is a week of celebrations, and our libraries across the island are a part of our celebration. So just like you, within their space, they have students who are partaking online. So we are going to first take our break, and individuals are free to browse both here and within the parishes, and we are going to view Miss Denise Palace. She is our Rural Development Librarian at the Negril Branch Library. She is, we'll be displaying her on our screen here. Students here can browse or different displays as soon as Miss Palace is ready. However, we will switch across to the Negril Branch Library to see what's happening on their side. Chances are Miss Palace isn't quite ready for us as yet, so I don't know if there are any other questions persons may have with regards to anything that we've spoken about since today, or if you would like to browse, now is the opportunity to browse. We have our library services display, and we also have a display from Heart and also from Choices. So you can browse around and see what we have. Thank you. Okay, so there's no? Okay, all right. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our program, online viewers. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. I hear that St. Elizabeth is here in the house. I am pretty sure you got a chance to see what's going on over there in St. Elizabeth. Thank you, St. Elizabeth. Okay, so moving on with our program. For this second half, we will be having presentations by our guest speakers. First of all, I'd like to introduce Dr. Anne-Marie Williams. She is the Manager of Student Services and Development at Placement and Career Service at the UWI. Dr. Anne-Marie Williams has been in career development for over 10 years. She holds professional membership in the Caribbean Tertiary Level Personnel Association, and she has been with the UWI for a few years. Okay, so with no further ado, because I know Dr. Williams is no stranger to the podium such as these, I welcome you to the stage. Can you help me in welcoming Dr. Anne-Marie Williams?
It is my pleasure to be with you. And guess what? In the COVID conditions, it's happy to see faces and face-to-face faces. I've been doing this over the past year and a half, nearly 2 years now, and we have been going virtually. So it's a wonderful experience to be here. And I want to thank the team for inviting me, and I hope that we will have an experience that you will never forget. So as I proceed, my topic is self-exploration, a key to career success. Now you might want to say, what does that have to do with career exploration? No, career exploration is really the path through which you discover who you are. And if you know who you are, you will also be able to align yourselves to a career path that matches who you are. So who am I? And I have this quote: everything you need to succeed is within you. Unearth those strengths and use them to your advantage. And so that's what self-exploration deals with. Now, there are many strategies you can utilize to explore, to discover you. When you discover you, you can talk with others who are involved with your development, your parents, your teachers, your guidance counselors, even your peers can say, well, you are strong in these areas, and I believe you will do well in a career aligned with these skills. Another approach could be your own personal self-reflection. So you could sit and talk to yourself about some issues. And the third one is self-assessment tools. And I'm going to go a little detailed as we go further, as we explore some of those strategies. So the next thing is we're looking at the first one, which is the feedback, getting feedback from those you are acquainted with. So you're involved in activities at your high school level, even your community level, your church level, and you're able to say to others, what do you recognize as my greatest strength? And they will be able to provide, okay, you're very articulate, you're very creative, you're able to engage an audience, you love public speaking, or you love to write, you're a critical analyst, you're very good with numbers. These individuals who I consider significant others, mentors, can also guide you in helping you to discover who you are. Because this self-discovery process really allows you to tap into your strengths and your weaknesses and your abilities, your aptitude, so that you are able to design a career path that aligns with you. I must say, I have come across a number of students who have gone through university. I'm not just talking about transitioning from high school to university, but have completed second and third degrees, and they're still trying to figure out who they are. So at your stage, it is okay to not be 100% sure. And that's why this presentation is of help to you. You can change over time, but it's important that as you prepare to transition into university life, that you are able to determine where you are going to allocate your resources. So we know university experience is very expensive. We don't want you to enter the halls of the University of the West Indies and spend money that you are not sure that's what you want to do. And so we have been working in partnership with the guidance counselors who will also help you to narrow down career paths that are aligned with your strengths and your weaknesses and your interests. So get feedback from others and utilize that information to determine who you want to be. It is said that someone who manages their career well is someone who does what they like to do and get paid for it. So if you can do what you enjoy doing and get paid for it, isn't that wonderful? That's one of the things that I do. I like to talk with people, I like to help people, and I get paid for doing it. I volunteer sometimes, so it's not all about paying. If you don't want to work for someone, you can also establish your own business. So if you have a knack with entrepreneurship because at high school you used to sell bag juice, and you had a good knack at how you can integrate other products and other services so your fellow schoolmates can enjoy. I went to a session once and a presenter said he started investing his funds that he made from selling cheese sticks, bubble gum, icy mint, and suck. And today, he is doing well. He works with a financial institution. Again, you see how he has aligned his interests and his abilities to do well in his career. So, get the feedback from others. The other thing you could also do, as I mentioned earlier, is self-reflection. Now, self-reflection is very important because it's good for others to tell you how good you are. But you have to have that confidence, that understanding, that willpower in you to explore certain given careers because you trust that those are your strengths and those are your weaknesses. And so the self-reflection process, three-stage process, involves you becoming aware of who you are, becoming aware of your personal interests, and looking at your hopes and your dreams. And I want to interject here that your hopes and your dreams or your interests might not be viable sources of independence. And when I speak of independence, I mean financial independence. I want you at the end of your journey and you have transitioned to adulthood, that you're not depending on your parents anymore to sustain you. I know things have changed over the years, and a lot of young people are remaining at home with their parents to ensure that they don't expend money on rent and all of those things. But the important thing is that you are independent and can make that decision to step out on your own. That's why your parents sent you to school. That's why as teachers, as counselors, as mentors, we speak to you, we relate to you so that you can make that transition from being a child, from being a student, to being an adult and an employed independent or an employer who is independent and contributing to Jamaican society and the world at large. So as you reflect, you have to be confident that you believe that that's who you are. And so if you're not able to maintain independence with your hopes and your dreams, twin it with your career path. You may also volunteer as you go along. But the self-reflection and the feedback from your significant others would help you to discover you. It gives you an idea of who you are, so you know who you are. So that self-knowledge will also help you to narrow down your career paths in areas that you will thrive in. And the third aspect is self-assessment tools. Now, when you explore yourself, and I'm speaking of self-assessment tools, I'm speaking of scientifically designed tools that will help you as you respond to questions regarding your personality type, your interests, your skills, your values, your strength, and other areas, even your weaknesses. You are able to utilize the results from those tools to help you to narrow your career choices and expend your energies towards those goals that align with who you are. I hate to tell you, but it's true that there are individuals, as I said before, who would have passed through many levels of degrees, many levels of studies, and have just discovered, this isn't what I want to do. Today, all of you who are watching online, and those of you who I'm seeing face to face, you don't have to make that same mistake. You don't have to travel that unknown path. I want you to tap into who you are. And with the two tools I mentioned earlier, along with the self-assessment tools that are available to you online, some of them I will show you in a short while are free, and some of them are fee-based. But there are good tools that will help you if you are unsure of where you are, unsure of who you want to be, unsure of whether you want to be what mommy and daddy say or what a teacher said. I remember growing up, I wanted to be a bilingual secretary. I was good at Spanish and I was excellent at French. But you know what? In those days, being a secretary was something big. And you probably will guess my age. Because while we admire and we need administrative assistance now, that career path doesn't seem as, that inviting to most people. As a matter of fact, we have institutions who no longer provide training for admin assistants. And so you tend to feel that that career is not thriving, but it is. It is necessary. But in my day, I wanted to combine at least French and Spanish to be the best bilingual secretary I could be. In those days, I never knew anything about American Embassy and Canadian Embassy, that they would need my skills, and that I could also be a linguist. But I'm sharing this to say, I never did also a self-assessment as which I'm referring you to. But I listened to this principal who was my dear friend. And he said, Anne-Marie, you are going to be a teacher. And I'm like, no way. Teachers don't make money. I don't want to go there. I'm good at accounts too. So to cut a long story short, I transitioned from the bilingual area because at the time I wasn't doing well with the teacher I had. Big mistake. Never allow a teacher's teaching style to deter you from what you're good at. And so when I wasn't enjoying the teaching style of a given teacher, I switched and I went into business education. And at my high school, Morant Bay High School, whoop, there is a trend that if you're not in the sciences, the next best place to go is business. So I felt comfortable. And I pursued my business career. And my teacher was saying, my principal was saying, you are going to be a teacher. He did everything to make me become a teacher. But I went to work before I went to university in an organization where I was doing multiple things. Didn't have any formal tertiary education training, but my principal said, you need to save to get into Teachers College. So he offered me my first job out of high school. So I transitioned and was doing payroll, and I was loving it, and I was doing very well. But there was one thing in the back of my mind, my values, my dream was not to work 24/7 and have only 1 or 2 holidays. So I heard my teacher coming back, my principal coming back, teaching. I needed my summers, and I thought about my family. And though I didn't have any family then of my own, I thought about how am I going to integrate this 9 to 5, and I only got Jewish holidays and public holidays. How am I going to integrate this to ensure that when I do have my own family, I will have time with them? And teaching pulled me back in. And so I registered for CAST then, did business education, integrated some secretarial skills in that. And today, I have transitioned into being career specialist, still teaching, but I am not in the academic world where I meet students, but those skills that I learned in Teachers College, that I learned as a teacher, I still am able to impart them. So I say to you, if you are not sure, do these assessment tools. Utilize them, get the feedback from others, and also do your own self-searching. What is it that you want to do? And so, those of you who are 100% sure of where you're going to be, what you want to be, I commend you, I congratulate you, I applaud you. Do everything you can to make it happen, right? And so, let's look at some of those assessment tools. So we have some examples that will help you to determine your personality type. So, if you're somebody who is an extrovert, you're outgoing and you like to interact with people, the tool that you will be engaged in will guide you to certain careers that will align you to that personality type. And so one of the free ones that is available online is Kersey Temperament Sorter. We also have Typology Central, which is free, and Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. No, you can get a free aspect of that, but in terms of a detailed analysis, you will have to pay an additional fee for that. Now, I just want to say something here. These scientific tools are the tools that you hear those who promote matching relationships like eHarmony.com to help you to match with people who they think are ideal partners. These are the same tools that they use. But we are looking at it from the career perspective. So you're able to look at your personality type and match the skills, the environment to that kind of work setting that best suit you. We have also interest-based. So what you're interested in, you could also use My Next Move, which is free, strong interest inventory, that's also free, and Career Key is also fee-based rather. So strong inventory is fee-based, so you have to pay some money. Career Key is also fee-based. I know when you register to the University of the West Indies, there is a system that we use called the SIGI. It is fee-based because the university has to pay a subscription for it, but students utilize it free of cost. The other area that the self-assessment may explore is skills assessment. What's your aptitude level? What are you good at? And they want you to be honest in your responses to these tools. So I say to my students, and you will see it on the systems too when you log into them, do not overthink. Just answer what comes to you automatically. Otherwise, you will rig your own results. Have you ever heard garbage in, garbage out? The tool itself does not do anything for you. It's what you input that it analyzes and says, okay, here, if I'm integrating skill-based and interest-based, this is where you would do well with. And they never, none of these tools will produce only one result. So for me, I might see social work coming up if I did the test. I might see career development coming up. I might see family therapy coming up because of the things I have included in my responses. So it will give you multiple options, and then you begin to explore. You can look at your values through career change checklist, which is free, or for the skills one, my skill, my future, motivational assessment of personal potential, and skill scan. All of those will give you an idea of what your skill level is, how you can align that with a career path. And the final one that I want to look at is the strength assessment. Again, that could be tied to your skills, but it is termed Strength Assessment 360 Reach. So they are targeting what you're good at. Some of the questions will target your weak areas, so they are able to determine, okay, she or he will not do well in these areas. So what they're doing is making sure they capture who you really are and what your strengths are. Another one, which is fee-based, is Clifton Strengths. I have not exhausted all of them, but I think I have given you a number of tools. There's also John Holland that I know most high schools utilize. And as I said before, there are multiple ones that you could utilize. Now, that self-knowledge, as I've been saying, takes you to your career discovery. And how do you do that? Through these steps. So when you have looked at who you are by synthesizing what others say about you, what you think and feel are of value to you, and when you do the scientific tests, when you synthesize all those results, you now know who you are. And you're able to make the next step to explore some of these career options, some of these career opportunities that are presented to you in these results. And so you can explore what skill set would be needed for these careers, where can I go and study these careers, what kind of work environment, what kind of salary, what is the scope in terms of longevity for this career. All of those things you will be able to gather that information and utilize it as you explore the different career fields that you would want to work in. Then, the next step, as you explore and make use of who you are, how you're wired, or the skills you can learn as you go through the process, make a decision as to where you will go. I recommend to students, do not decide that there is one given career field for me. Have multiple options. And I keep saying, as we share with our students at our office, integrate, tweak, be unique, select your own niche, look at problems that need to be solved, and tap into those areas. That's where you can explore and maximize your given talents, your interests, your values, and do well independently, financially, and contribute to the society at large. So when you have made that decision, the final step is implementation. You need to put in an action plan. So you're going to tell yourself, all right, I'm applying to the University of the West Indies. And I'm pressing the University of the West Indies. That's where I work, right? But there are other programs that you might find as your strengths that are not available at a university. Never let anyone make you feel diminished in who you are. and what you want to do. Choose for yourself what you will be comfortable with. And so, one other quote I'd like to share with you. There's no embarrassing job that's an honest paying job. Bear that in mind. I don't want to see any of you on the streets begging. You are privileged. We cry all the time about the Jamaican education system. Believe me, you are a cut above the rest. Your peers who have traveled overseas will tell you our education system is above par. Have you ever noticed some students who you believe don't do well academically in your class, and when they migrate, they are top of their class? Our system is good. Make use of it. Make use of it. Do not take lightly the opportunities that are available to you. And as a career development specialist, I want to punch this one in before I take my seat. It is good to study and study and study because you're in a competitive world, right? But get work experience along the way. It makes a difference. So your summer jobs, your volunteer hours, utilize them. They also give you the opportunity to see the nature of work that you might be interested in. And when you land in them like I did, that's not really for you. So I'm still good at accounts, but that kind of environment wasn't going to work for me. And thank God I changed early enough. And a punchline for me here that I want you to apply, I married a minister of religion. And he moved from place to place. I did not see that in my vision. And as a teacher, it was easier for me to secure a job. I'm not telling you to marry a pastor. And I'm not telling you to go do teaching. But do your own self-analysis. Listen to others who have your best interests at heart. Explore what is happening in the global market. And do not study for Jamaica alone. Study for a global market. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing every single one of you at the UWI in September or August 2022. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. That was very interesting. Thank you. Thank you. That was some great advice, and we also enjoyed those anecdotes of your transition. So thank you. So I'm just going to take the time out to acknowledge our viewers who are online. So let me acknowledge Renee Mayer from Bridgeport High School. Individuals from Jackson Primary and Infant, Jacinth Dunn Fairweather from Alley Primary School, Brisley Garner, Howard Harvey, Mitzi Mills, Nina Dixon from Castle High School. So that's just a few persons who have been viewing, and just providing feedback on content on our YouTube page. Also from Facebook, we just want to say thank you to Just Theophilus for viewing. He's at the Cheswick Branch Library in St. Thomas. Howard Harvey, thank you for your comments. On our YouTube, we have Garth Mothersill from Donald Quarry High School. YouTube, we have Lydia from Seaforth Town High School, Jodianne Carr from Westwood High School. I think our YouTube page is buzzing. Also Facebook. Also to say thank you to Maxine Taylor from Cascade Primary and Infant, and Andrea Osborne from Jackson Primary and Infant. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone or left out anyone, but just want to say thank you for all our viewers on our virtual platforms. We want to say thank you to all the persons in the parishes also. Okay, so let me move along. I'd like to introduce our next guest speaker, Mr. Shavon Hutchinson. Mr. Hutchinson is a dynamic, creative, and accomplished student affairs professional with 9 years of hands-on experience in assessing and implementing student enrichment and retention programs to further advance the field of student development. He has a track record of leading and representing the day-to-day operations of student affairs, both locally and internationally, and ensuring students' safety and consistency of practice. Mr. Hutchinson, you're no stranger to these forums, and as such, it's with great confidence that I welcome you today.
Afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'm actually happy, as Dr. Williams mentioned, to just be here joining face-to-face. I mean, you know, the Zoom is good. I mean, the platforms are very good, but, you know, it doesn't add as much value, you know, in terms of face-to-face interactions. And so we are going to quickly speak today on resume writing. I'm particularly happy that we have students in our midst. I know persons are online as well, but I'm particularly happy to see the high school students being represented today. I know when I was in high school some years ago, we didn't have much of these sessions. And so, you know, sometimes even creating resume is, you know, like a hit and miss type of situation, right? But not until coming to UA and then becoming a peer advisor at Placement and Career Services, where Dr. Williams is currently. Well, we became very good friends, right? So placement really taught me some creative ways, and then now I, you know, moved on to student affairs, and so, you know, student success, student retention, right? Seeing students moving to university, staying at university, going through their 3 years and graduating, right? That is the area that I am interested in and focused on. All right, so quickly we're just gonna go into some tips on writing the perfect resume. All right, so a resume, as you can see on the screen, it's a personal and professional summary of your background and qualifications. So you are all in high school, and so naturally you would now be putting your clubs and societies on your resume. And let me just say, do not discredit your clubs and societies, right? Volunteering, as Dr. Williams mentioned, for you, I mean, it's very good and it adds value to your resume, right? So it usually includes information about your education, career objectives, work experience, activities, awards, and honors. So again, all the things that you are doing in high school, your awards that you are getting, right, they add value to your resume. All right, so resume essentials, right? Try limiting your resume to 1 or 2 pages. And for your stage, right, your resume really should be 1 page, right? As best as possible, try to limit it to 1 page. For professionals in the field, right, such as myself, Dr. Williams, and the others here, your resume will really be 2 pages. And let me stress this, it is important that you keep your resume to 2 pages. When recruiters, remember, you are competing now in a global space, right? So you're not just even competing with Jamaicans, you're competing with persons in the Caribbean and internationally, right? And so it is important that you want to ensure that your resume grabs the attention of the recruiter, because most time recruiters, you go through like several hundred resumes in a day. And so, you know, you want to ensure that your resume stands out, right? And if your resume is more than 2 pages, then probably they're not going to spend time to look at it. You want to ensure that it's as concise as possible and it catches their eye. And it has as much information as possible that is directly linked to the job. I think one of the major problems that persons have, they probably put things on their resume, but they don't align it to the jobs that they're applying to. So as simple as your summer work that you are going to be applying to, right? You have to ensure that you are linking some of these experiences and pulling them out so that it aligns with the job that you're applying to, right? Ensure that you don't use less than font size 10. I would say 12. I mean, going to university is normally 12 for us, Times Roman, right? So ensure that it is more than 10, possibly 12 or 13, so it is legible. The persons can see it when they're scanning through the resumes, right? Remember, you're competing against several other persons, so always bear that in mind, right? Use a readable and a clear font, right? As you can see in red, right? Some persons that use these fanciful fonts, right, and the recruiters can't see it, you know, unfortunately, you may not even get called for an interview, right? So you have to ensure that your resume is clear. The font that you use, it is clear enough so that they can actually see your information, right? And it says print a resume on a LaserJet printer. Well, just as long as the paper that you're using or the printer that you're using ensures that it is legible, right? As you can see on the screen there. It must be legible. That is what is important, right? And ensure that you spell check for typos, and you can always, there's always the 2 eyes are better than 1, so ensure that you ask somebody else to review that resume for you, because you may go over it and sometimes probably you do it in a rush. Probably you get an opportunity and they ask for the resume in less than 24 hours, and you have to scribble down and get it done, right? But I would say this though, you are now in high school, most of you are going into grade 11, and for those other professionals who are here in the house, ensure that you have a standard resume on hand, right? Whether in your email, on your thumb drive, just ensure that you have something ready, and then now when you see a position that you want to apply to, then now you can tailor that resume to suit that particular job. Is everybody understanding so far? Well, I am used to the classroom type of setting, so forgive me, I don't necessarily like this, you know, one-on-one discourse. All right, so there are some resume pet peeves, right, that you need to look out for. So again, we mentioned spelling errors, typos, grammar, right? So in this example, I had receive a plague for student of the year form ABC hall. So that's a hall on campus, so we use that as an example. Ensure, guys, that your resume, you check for these spelling and typo errors, right? Because sometimes the computer may not necessarily pick it up, right? So instead of writing plaque, the person wrote plague. So ensure, because it doesn't go well for you, right? Because spelling errors, you know, person seeing a lot of grammar in your resume, chances are most jobs require communication skills, and so naturally if you have several errors on it, you probably won't be called, right? So duty oriented, right? So I've seen some resumes where persons, they just list like the position, so or what are the duties that are supposed to be a part of your resume. So the persons just write responsible to answer the phone, responsible to type a check or receive check, type a letter, type memos, right? You are to ensure that your resume sells you, right? I always tell students, think of your resume as a brand and how it represents you. How do you want to be seen by that recruiter, right? And so ensure that your resume doesn't just list the duties that are included, but it actually says what you actually did where that duty is concerned. So if you are the receptionist at the workplace, certainly you'll be meeting customers. Probably in a day you probably meet 50 clients, right? And they come to you to get some information about the company. And so now you are going to write that you utilize your communication skills in which you were able to redirect customers to seek information concerning the company, right? As opposed to just saying receptionist responsible for receiving guests, right? It does not sell you enough, or it does not show the recruiter your actual skill sets. Right? So inaccurate dates are none at all. Ensure on your resume you are in high school, so you are moving from one stage to the next, right? You probably have summer employment or internship. Always ensure that you put the dates there, right? The dates are important, right? If there are gaps, then you would know how to tailor it, and most times the recruiters would probably ask you, so what did you do within these 2 years while you were not working, right? So, but ensure that your dates are accurate and ensure that dates are actually on your resume. Those are important, right? Your formatting, so again, ensure Microsoft has a lot of resume templates that you can use. I would suggest that you use a functional resume, and I will explain more as we go down in the slide. And I have an example of a, not functional, chronological resume that you should use, right? But Microsoft has a lot of templates, so you can just easily take those templates and then you just edit and put your information in your resume, all right? And long resumes. And as I say, again, your resume should not be more than 2 pages. And at your level, 1 page. For the professionals in the house or online, 2 pages the most. All right? So if you're an unqualified candidate, and let me explain what I mean here. So if the position is asking for someone that has 5 years experience or 10 years experience in the profession, or management experience or supervisory experience, and you are not qualified based on these expectations, then it doesn't make sense you apply. You know, there are some jobs though that it may, based on your skill set that you have, right? You know that you are able to apply for this job, and you can go to the interview and you can ensure that you sell yourself so that you can get the job. I would say apply, right? Sometimes there are some jobs that would probably say you probably need a certain amount of experience, and you are below that level of experience. But how you carefully craft that resume, right? The recruiters can say, maybe we can take a chance on this candidate and invite them to an interview to hear more about them and their skill sets, right? And now that is how you are going to land that job, because you are going to ensure that you come prepared for that interview, all right? So research the job information, right? So again, I was speaking about aligning your resume to the job that you're going to apply for. Ensure that your information is directly aligned to that job that you're applying to, right? And the desired qualification, the skills, as I mentioned before, ensure that they are also aligning or matching up to these things. And guys, this is very important, right? Because a recruiter will see it as disrespectful or thinking you're just wasting their time. So ensure that you're aligning your resume to the job information. And this is one of the major things I will say to persons. Ensure that your contact information, it is seen, it is clear, right? I have seen some resumes, some persons, they put their names, but they don't put an email or a contact information for us to contact them, right? So you know what will happen to that resume. It goes in file 13, right, as we say in HR. So that resume will not be looked on. It will not be going into a second batch of recruitment if we are short on a staff and we need to fill the position, right? So ensure that, and you can see the example there. You notice the name is legible, the information, the address is there. And guys, let me say this again, where addresses are concerned. Some persons, maybe due to the COVID pandemic, you probably relocate to your hometown, right? So you probably were working in Kingston, but now you have relocated to probably Mandeville, right? Ensure that your address information is accurate, because I've seen many candidates that put they originally reside in, say, probably one of the other parishes, right? But they're applying for a job in Kingston, and they have the parish address. Naturally, the person going through these resumes, you're going to just skip that and stick to the area, right? So ensure that those information, your address information, is quite accurate. Now, the objective statement is very important, right? It is the first line on your resume after your personal information. Right? So ensure now, guys, now this is important. I have seen so many persons that they move to this generic resume thing where they just take a statement to say, applying to utilize my skills to work in an organization that enables me to use my accounting skills, right? Your objective or your job statement is supposed to represent you as a brand. What do I want the recruiter to know about this person when I am applying for the job? And, you know, as the bios were read, right, I always say to clients, think of the statement or the objective as a bio, right? This is what will represent you. This is what I will know from picking up the resume. So ensure, and also ensure that it aligns with the job that you're applying to. So if you're applying to a accounting firm, ensure that your objective statement is directly aligned to that, right? You can't be applying for an accounting firm and you probably put an objective about pharmaceuticals or working in the pharmaceutical industry, right? So those would be off, right? And so again, it speaks about a statement fragment with descriptive phrases. So again, as I say, think of it as a bio. How do you represent yourself as a brand? All right. So avoid, as I mentioned, avoid being too general, right? So utilizing my skill set, experience, and knowledge, that is done away with. Do not put that. Align it directly with the job that you are applying to and ensure that you are representing and selling your brand, which is yourself. So for your education, for recent college graduates and students applying for internship, this is an important section, right? Until your work experience is more impressive than your education, right, this category should be the second section in your resume. So directly after your objective statement, you would put your education. And so this is speaking more to recent graduates and high school students, right? For professionals, it's a bit different. I mean, some could put education depending on the position. So if you are probably recently gotten your PhD or your master's, you probably would put that, right? So you stand out amongst the other candidates, right? But for you, we would naturally ask you to put your education. I think at your level, you could put primary and secondary because it works. But after we have passed that level, for the professionals in the house and online, we don't expect you to put your primary school information and your high school information, right? So it would be a college experience, etc., university experience going up. All right? I know some students probably ask about GPA. So now a GPA is, if it's a high GPA or one that I know, like some firms in the accounting industry, like Ernst & Young, KPMG, they generally ask for the students who are honor students or first-class students. So naturally, when the students are listing their education, they could actually highlight their GPA beside the subject, right? To ensure, so if you have a 4.0, a 3.0, you know, and above, you would list that GPA because naturally the recruiters are looking for you. Right? So that's how a GPA works. If your GPA is less, I wouldn't advise that you put it on your under education. All right? And can we move to the educational examples? So the educational example, as I mentioned, you would see it here. So you in high school, your GPA is high, you would put that, right? Dean's List, you're on your school's honor roll, certainly you would put that because that would say that you're an exceptional candidate. And for the professionals, right, who would have graduated from the university with first class honors, naturally we would expect that you would also put that on your resume, right? And so relevant courses as well, if you are going to be applying more to the academic field, right? Certainly you can put the relevant courses, or if it aligns with the job that you're applying to, certainly you can put your relevant course. Again, at the high school level, you do the sciences, you're applying to something in the science industry. Naturally, you would have completed some of those science courses. We expect that you're going to put them, right? And probably speak to some of the grades that you would have gotten there, right? So again, as I say, you're going to craft the resume to align to the position that you are applying to. If it's irrelevant, if it's not necessary for the position, do not put it on the resume, all right? And so the work experience and qualification, this section should either follow education or come before. As I said, some persons actually put it before, depending on the nature of the job. So like the professionals in the house, you have 10 years, 15 years experience. Naturally, you would put the work experience if the position that you're applying to is speaking to that level of experience. So they need 10 years experience or 15 years experience. Certainly you would put those work experience, right? And again, if the position is more on the academic side, naturally you could put your education to show that you have a PhD or a ED, right? You would put that because you're aligning that now to the position that you're applying to. And then let me just say this about the work experience. Now, work experiences on your resume should not be more than 10 or 15 years, right? 20 years is too much and it's not needed, right? So stick to 10 to 15 years of work experience when you are aligning to that job. And for the high school students, certainly you would not have 10 years work experience, so you would not necessarily be putting all of these things, right? But you would ensure that you have relevant information that will help you to get one step closer to that job. And I think there are some examples there with professional experience. I would say this, when you are thinking about listing on the professional experience, so for students who would probably be doing summer employment, you probably worked in an accounting field, as I said, or you went into an area in the library and you were archiving these information for the library service, right? You would ensure that you don't just say, worked in the library, summer intern, archive records, right? You're going to ensure that you speak to the records. So if you archive over 100 records in your summer period, you're going to ensure that you put that, because now that is an accomplishment of itself, that you archive over 100 records in the library and you help them to update and to be more digitalized, right? Now that speaks to the person that you are, that you take initiative, right? So you're going to use active terms in your work experience, and always list your duties, but ensure that you're using active terms or action terms, right? So don't just leave it flat. Go in depth and explain and think about some of your accomplishments or your successes in the job, and ensure that you are putting those in your resume. All right, and finally, we go to the reference section of a resume. Now, your reference section, right? Not everyone or not every organization asks for a reference per se. And so it is perfectly fine if you put references available upon request. That is perfectly fine. I know for some other recruiting firms, they normally ask that you upload your references on a separate sheet and send to them, or you ask your references ahead of time to send it. So available upon request is perfectly fine. But if you're going to add the references on the section, one, you need to think about your references as well. One, you need to ensure that your reference can actually speak to the job that you do, right? And ensure also that you tip off your reference before, right? If you list them as a reference and they don't know about the job that you're applying to, they can't speak to, the skill set that you're bringing to that job, then you may not necessarily get that job. So ensure that you speak to your reference before so that they're aware of what you're going to be applying to, so that, whenever they call or so, they're able to speak to your credibility, right? And ensure when you are doing the reference, you have their name. It is organized as their name, their position, right? The institution, their address, and their contact information, right? So that is how you should ensure that you are organizing your resume. And again, I say, what is the best resume to use? It is the reverse chronological order. And how that works is that you will list your present, right, all the way down to the oldest. So all your present work experience, education, would be at the top of the resume coming down, and that's how you do it. You don't put the first one all the way to the top and then the latest at the bottom, right? And I think there are some samples that you can look at to see the type of resumes that you can use. And then the final resume style that there is the imaginative resume. That resume now, I think it's for persons who are in the graphic field. So if you are in graphic design, the media field, they'd probably ask you for that type of resume because they want to look on your skill set. But for normal persons who are in a profession or applying to a certain profession, you would use the reverse chronological resume. And that brings me to the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hutchinson, for that very important tips, those very important tips. I hope that when everyone leaves today, if you haven't started on your resume, you've got some good tips. I hope persons took notes. So now is a good time to start out building that resume. I'd like to take this time out to say thank you again to another set of our YouTube and Facebook viewers. So we have Marcia McFarlane from the Windsor School of Special Education. We have Roosevelt Rush. We have Queen Cachet. And we also have Kentucky Primary and Junior High. That's in Westmoreland. We also wanted to thank the Louisville High School in St. Elizabeth. They were actually in our space today. We would have seen them earlier today on our screen. So thank you, Louisville High, for turning out. At this point in time, I'd just like to invite our Senior Director, Ms. Kishma Simpson, to present tokens of appreciation to both of our guest speakers, Dr. Anne-Marie Williams and Mr. Shavon Hutchinson. Okay, so while we wait for them, we just wanted to say thank you to Negril Primary. They were actually in the Negril Branch Library today. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Okay, so now I am taking the opportunity to introduce our next guest speaker, Mrs. Angela De Freitas. Ms. De Freitas is the General Manager of Choices and Career Education Advice. She's also the founder, editor, and publisher of All Choices publications. She's a graduate of the University of the West Indies, and Mrs. De Freitas now empowers people with information to help make wise educational career decisions. So, Ms. De Freitas. Just to clarify, Ms. De Freitas will be joining us virtually.
Thank you very much. I hope is ready for me. Okay. Great. Good afternoon, one and all. I am so happy to be here, even though joining you only virtually. Had I known it was such a one-of-a-kind, in-person, face where right now. So it's not necessarily a case that I'm close by. I could be anywhere with this virtual technology. So I am joining you from Choices Career and Education Advice, otherwise known as Choices Caribbean. I have a relatively short time in order to address you on what has become quite a complicated subject. Now, interviewing used to be pretty straightforward. You knew that if you were invited to an interview, you were going to show up and you were going to look your best, do your best, and get that job. But it's not quite as straightforward as that now. So I'm going to try break it down into two pieces. And I'll also show you a little video which is going to help you. The reason I'm speaking on the subject as well is because interviewing techniques, processes, strategies, preparation have changed very much, not just because of COVID, but even before COVID, changes were taking place. Some of you may know that there are times when you would have been asked to send a resume. That was normal. Then after that now, sometimes you might have been asked to send a video to represent what you're saying, who you are, what you do. But now today, things have gone one step further, and I'm going to be telling you about that one step further. Now, we may think of an interview as something that happens in person, face to face. And several of you may be waiting at that time in order to be called in and interviewed. And some of you there may be saying, but I've never had that experience yet. And maybe I'm not quite ready for it. But I want you to also understand that interviewing is not just about jobs. It might also be about a scholarship that you want to get. It might also be for a prize, an award of some sort. In fact, certain university programs and college programs expect you to do an interview as well. So even before you're thinking about a job, at any age or stage that you're at, you might have to do some sort of an interview in order to make sure you're qualified for what it is that you want. So interviewing has always been nerve-wracking, and it was always anxiety-causing and stressful. But at least before, it was predictable. You knew what to expect. But today, with the amount of different types of interviews, it has become more complicated and more difficult for you to know in advance what shape or form an interview will take. So let's start with a list of possible types of interviews. Now, there's the face-to-face, which we all either know, have experienced, or can imagine, or have heard of. You go to the location, you're called in, questions are fired, and you answer to the best of your ability. After that comes the telephone interview. Sometimes a phone interview is used as a kind of precursor to the face-to-face interview. But believe you me, you might be ruled out at the telephone stage, because if you answer your phone correctly, don't answer it at all, or just say the wrong thing in the wrong way in that phone conversation, you might never get a date for that interview. So after that now, if you actually go in for an interview, it might be a team interview or a group interview. And you may think, oh, this is great because it's not me alone. I don't have to be so nervous. There are other people. But in an interview like that, your interviewer wants to know whether you are the leader of the pack, whether you outshine the others, and how well you compete in that situation. So whatever it is, whatever type of interview is chosen, there is a reason for it, and you have to determine the reason and make sure that you stand out in there. Since COVID, of course, there aren't as many face-to-face group team interviews, if at all. And what have taken their place, such as Zoom, like others such as Skype, Teams, and even beyond that, what's happening now are what intervene by an additional task that they probably have to do during their workday. Because what happens with the asynchronous interview is that once you are selected for an interview, you go onto a platform at whatever time you want and you do your interview. The questions are asked of you using AI, that's artificial intelligence. You do your answer, you package your application, and you send it off. Now, someone then has to go through that application in the same way. It might be a human being, as well as, once again, it might be artificially intelligence-led. So these days, you can prepare for anything. And I know that some of you are primary school students listening to this at the moment. So you can start to imagine what an interview will be like by the time you're doing your first one, by the time you're doing your second and third and fourth one. So be prepared, and always be reading. Read online to see what's happening in the interview world. Now, right now, I'm going to ask our technical people to play the video, which they have queued up for you. And as I said, the reason I am speaking is because things have changed since that video was made. I want to still do some talking afterwards to fill you in on some other things. So could we now have that video, please?
Hello, and thank you for joining us for Career Tips, Information and Strategies from Choices Career Advice. Today, we will prepare you for the job interview. The day has arrived. You have been invited to an interview. The purpose of an interview is to allow you and the prospective employer to get to know each other. This is an excellent opportunity for you to market yourself and for both of you to find out if there's a good fit of skills, experience, and attitude. As you prepare for this important event, there are some important factors to consider. When preparing for your interview, take great care in your appearance. Check your clothes, nails, and posture. As far as dress is concerned, you can find out about the organization's dress code by telephoning their receptionist. If in doubt, wear a tailored suit. If you don't have a suit, be sure your clothes are professional, clean, and fit well. Pay attention to your personal hygiene. This is always very important. Do not use too much of your favorite cologne. If in doubt about your breath, carry fresh breath mints with you, and don't ever forget the deodorant. Before going to any interview, research the company and learn as much as you can about it. This shows enthusiasm and will give you a great head start. Be early for your interview. That is, not more than 15 minutes early and not less than 5 minutes, or else you may appear to be late. Please note, if you're not familiar with the location, find it at least a day before the interview. When you arrive at the location, be polite and courteous to everyone, as you can never tell who is involved in the recruitment process. Your handshake is one of the most important parts of a first impression. A firm handshake, good eye contact, and a relaxed smile will give you a confident start. Practice your smile. Do not slouch. Your posture should be upright. Our advice is to go forward confidently, but not arrogantly. Ace the interview, and your foot will be inside that door of opportunity. Join us again for another in the series as we continue with more tips from Choices Career Advice. For more information, call 969-5741 or visit our website www.choicesonlinejm.com.
Thank you very much. And there you have it. You got some good tips there. But of course, some of them are definitely for that in-person interview. I mean, if you're going to do a virtual interview, you're not going to think so much about handshake, because that's not going to happen. But you are still going to think about your appearance, because even if you're online, once video is turned on, you have to make sure that you do look professional and that your clothes are clean and tidy. You're also going to have to think about your timing. You're not going to get online the very moment. You're going to be online at least 15, maybe 10 minutes early to check that your connections are okay, to check that you have the right link, to check that everything is fine. I want you to come back at 5 minutes before the hour or the time. You'll do that, but make sure you check in to make sure everything's okay at least 15 minutes ahead. Now, you're also still going to have to think about how you are presenting yourself, because sometimes you may not, okay, you're going to have to think about your smile. You're going to have to think about your eyes, where you focus, and make sure you have set your camera correctly in looking at people eye to eye at eye level, and also make sure that you are the center of your frame and that you're being seen from chest up, and that you're not being cut off halfway at the top of your head, that kind of thing. And also that your posture is still good. You're not going to be slouching. You're going to give the impression that you are sitting up straight, just as I am doing now. And it will, in an overall way, give a good impression. Now, you also don't want to exude any unusual or body language which can be misinterpreted. So don't turn away from the camera. Don't flick your eyes up. Don't use too many hand movements, because those things can be misinterpreted even in a virtual space. Now, just to help you a little bit in a few minutes that we have left, I would like to give you some practical hints and tips. Now, if you are going to an interview, and even now, not just when you're ready for that interview. But from now, you need to start preparing for yourself a toolbox of essential information which are going to help you to be convincing and also which will help you along the way. Some people call this a career portfolio. We call it a career and life success portfolio. Now, it can either be physically created in a holder or a folder of some sort, or it can actually be created online on a platform such as LinkedIn, which is, very accessible, and you can, upload updated resumes, backgrounds, all sorts of things. But in this portfolio, in this area, you want to keep not just your resume, not just your cover letter, but other important information that's going to help you along your career and education success path. So, for example, in there, you will put additional things like information on companies you'd like to work at, information on changes in a particular career that you're interested in. You're also going to include certified copies of your birth certificate, your national ID, your exam certificates, be that diplomas, training certificates, degrees when you have them, and also, and something very important, in there will be a statement of your commitment to yourself, which outlines your personal ambitions and goals. Now, you're doing all this in preparation for an interview when you may be called upon to do it. Because as soon as you are invited to an interview, you're going to review the things that you have in your portfolio so that you will be refreshing yourself as to what you can say and what the answers to your questions will be. When you have all those things ready, you will feel more confident either stepping out or joining that link for an interview. And it's very important that confidence exists in you. Now, whatever type of interview you are preparing for, my advice to you is to be comfortable. Make sure that you know yourself, and remember also that you are a brand. Know about the company that you're interviewing for that will boost your confidence. And remember also that everyone has qualifications. All of the students who graduate with you from high school, from university, and also from other programs will have the same certificate as you do. The same subjects, the same number of subjects, the same degrees, certificates, diplomas. So you are going to have to develop and identify what distinguishes you from those other candidates. And you're going to emphasize those things, either through the answers that you give or through the information that you include in your portfolio. That's why it's important to have the portfolio so that you can always be refreshing it, adding to it, and refreshing your memory when you're called for an interview. Your competence in the foundation skills will also help you. Things like team working, leadership, creativity, communication. I want you to know that good manners, tidy appearance, appropriate dress are never out of style, whether virtually or physically. I thank you all very much and wish you all the best for your next interview, whether it's your first, your second, your 10th, or your last. And I'm inviting you this week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. De Freitas. That's some very interesting and informative content in a changing environment. Yes, COVID-19 has actually changed the way that we approach different things, and this is one of them. So while I'll hate to go, however, the session must come to a close. I am happy that you took the time out to join us. We do appreciate your presence in the space. Just want to squeeze in a few more from our online personnel. So just saying thank you to Runcia White, Kaleo Lynn Cook, and Ashcott Bosque. Also, Beyond Fair Weather, Debbie Smith from Karen Hall Primary, Karine Burton, Sunny Dunn, Denise Brown, Scylla Eram, Winsome Henry. The individuals from the East St. Thomas Community Association, Wendy Townsend, Charmaine Shakespeare, Anais Yelock, Alison Thomas. So that's a few of the persons joining in our YouTube and Facebook space. Thank you for being with us today. Okay, so in moving on, I am going to invite Mrs. Patsy Gordon. She's the director of our school library network, to join me on stage with the closing remarks. Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your participation in today's Career Forum. Without you, we wouldn't have had this function today, right? So I want you to remember the theme, career success, building critical skills to navigate the future. Let it be your watchword. Let it roll off your lips this week. Tell other students about this theme, right? All right, in summing up, we can say that the forum was a big success. Would you agree with me? A wealth of information was provided for you to ensure that you are equipped with the knowledge that was provided in order to ensure that you make informed decisions about your career choice and planning for your future education. So whether you choose a career right now, sometimes you don't know what you want to do, right? Like I didn't know what I wanted to do, but you're very fortunate. You know, the school system these days, as Dr. Williams said, is so much different. I remember when I went to high school, I knew I wanted a degree, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I applied to two places, CAST at the time and the University of the West Indies. So CAST, they put me on hold, but the university accepted me, so I jumped at that. And then I went to study librarianship. And the persons would ask, why do you study that? But I can say, from my point of view, I'm a librarian. I'm not a practicing librarian, but I have gotten the opportunity to do many things and to travel places outside of Jamaica in terms of my job. right? So I find job enrichment, and I also find financial security. I also love what I do, and that is the best part of it. So I'm encouraging you to really choose something that you like. I would like to thank the moderator, Miss Fiona Hutchinson, for so ably taking us through today's program. I would also like to thank Ms. Plummer for asking God's guidance on today's event. I would like to thank Ms. Maureen Thompson, Director General, for bringing remarks. Dr. Marcia Rowe Amonde for bringing greetings from the Heart NSTA Trust, and to our own librarians here in Jamaica Library Service, Mr. Sean Thomas and Mr. Markland Hunter, who moderated the virtual presentation. Students, I encourage you to keep this in mind as you prepare to leave high school. Remember these words. Write them down if you can. Career success is achieved through the choice of work you enjoy, and at the same time gaining financial stability in order to live a happy and fulfilled life. A special thanks to Dr. Anne-Marie Williams, Manager, Career and Placement at the University of the West Indies, and she was very practical in her presentation, right? And I'm sure that there are things there that you can find to take away. Also to Mr. Siobhan Hutchinson, who took us through resume writing. And he couldn't tell you everything about resume writing, but something very important to bear in mind is that ensure that your resume do not go longer than 2 pages. And it doesn't stop here with his presentation. I encourage you to go and to do research, because there are many things online, but with guidance, of course, you know, you prepare your resume and make sure it's a winning resume. I also want to extend thanks to Mrs. Angela De Freitas, who took you through the interviewing process, different things that you would consider before you go to do an interview, your dress, your appearance, be very confident, you know, things like that. Bear all of those in mind. All right, and I want to just pause to extend thanks to all the students and the persons who joined us in the different parish libraries and branch libraries island-wide, and also those of our online viewers or YouTube viewers. Thank you also for the comments. We appreciate it. A special thank you to our students who took time out from their classes today to come and be with us to ensure that we had this robust career forum today. So thank you, students from the Woolmers Boys School, Clancarty High. Let me see the Woolmers. Clancarty, Kingston High, and St. Hugh's High. Thank you so much for coming, and teachers for being there with your students. Thank you very much for your participation. Thanks to all staff members who joined. Special thanks to the production crew who worked on the virtual exhibition, staff who worked on different aspects of the virtual presentation, too many to mention. I want to give a special thanks to Ms. Jody Ann Brown, Deputy Director for Library Technology in the Jamaica Library Service, for helping to coordinate and producing the video which was shown. A special thanks to the Heart Trust NSTA. Thank you for coming and for being with us today. Your booth is looking really nice. Thank you for all the display items. Thanks to Mrs. De Freitas as well for the items that she gave for today's observation of the Career Week activities. Well, today is dedicated to Jamaica Library Service to showcase, various activities as it relates to career guidance and planning. A big thanks to Mr. Smith and his team from Crystal Clear for being here with us today to facilitate the streaming to our online viewers. Thank you so much. Thanks to all staff who assisted in one way or another to make this career forum a success. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Continue to keep safe and travel safely back. Thank you.